book besties, welcome to the first TBR jar of the year. So if you've never watched a TBR jar video, basically we have a bunch of prompts which help you to select the books that you're going to read. For example, if I have the lowest rated on Goodreads, I'd have to check what the lowest rated book on Goodreads is off my TBR cart, and then that's the book I would select to read for the month. Now girlies, if you watched the first clear the cart video, you would know that I have some new rules in place. The first one is every book that I clear off the cart will earn me £1. If the book has been in the cart for more than 6 months, then it earns me £2. And if you're wondering what this earning is for, basically I can only purchase new books with the money that I earn from reading off the cart. When I tell you my wish list is super long already, like I'm tempted to buy a new book. However, I have a slight confession to make. This video is being re-recorded, so you're not gonna get the true TBR jar experience in this video because unfortunately I watched the footage back from my original TBR jar video and it was horrendous. The lighting was bad, I was rushing, the audio is ass. So I have to redo this, and it's like, how do you redo a TBR jar video? I have no idea. I don't think it's possible. I was about to just upload it because it's like, you can't do this video again, but I decided I'm just gonna have to walk you through the story of the TBR jar, what prompts I got and what books I picked basically. Hopefully it's entertaining. Don't leave.
Don't go anywhere.
Hopefully it still gives you a vibe of what this TBR jar is and how it works. I still have some of the prompts from the previous video. So anyway, let's start with the first prompt, which was my 5-star predictions. The first one was definitely Fearless. This is a part of the Powerless trilogy. I've loved that book. I've reread the book and I'm obsessed with the whole series, so I guarantee this will wrap up the series nicely. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be so mad. I have a strong feeling it will. And then I also picked Kennedy Ryan Can't Get Enough because this is gonna be a really deep love story, and I just feel like Kennedy Ryan hardly ever goes wrong. Before I Let Go, love that one, so I guarantee I'm gonna love this. Plus Hendrix is one of my favorite characters. I think she's like most people's favorite character, so honestly most likely gonna be a 5-star. I also picked Legendborn because not Legendborn, that's not Legendborn, what the hell happened there? Then Legendborn because again, I have not heard a single person say that this series was not good. I have not heard it and I don't want to hear it, to be honest anyway. Like nothing but positivity about this book. I just feel like it's going to be such a good book and I'm excited for it. What was the other one? Oh yes, the other one was Ace of Spades. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know why I never picked Six of Crows as well, because that is another one I've only heard good stuff about. Six of Crows should have been a 5-star prediction as well. But we have Ace of Spades, which I predicted would be 5-star, just because everybody that's read it has had like that feeling of like it lingers a little bit afterwards and you start questioning things a bit, which sounds good, but also sounds horrific considering the storyline is following like a bunch of black kids that, I mean not a bunch of black kids, 2 black kids that just get like treated horrendously apparently, I don't know. So these were the options that I picked, but I can tell you off the bat, I did not choose Ace of Spades because I was not gonna start my new year like that. I was not trying to be depressed at the start of the year. Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan didn't get picked as well, just because I was like, there's a chance it could be under 5 stars. Just because I've heard a lot of people were upset that her love story wasn't as easy as they wanted it to be, because I think everyone's hoping for like a really easy love story for her, but at the same time, I don't know what you would expect. I want to say this is the Kennedy Ryan book, and everyone that I've read has been really deep, so they tend to be a little bit deep. They also wrap up very nicely though, so I don't know why people were mad, but I'm not gonna choose that one because it's still questionable whether or not it's gonna be a 5-star. Finally, I was left with these 2 options, and am I in frame? Let me move over. I was left with these 2 options and I decided to go with Fearless just because I don't know if I want to say guarantee, just because I've read the first 2 books and I enjoyed it so bad that it would be horrendous if this book didn't end up with a 5-star as well. Not to mention, I'd prefer to wrap up a series instead of starting a series, so then my brain is clear. So picked Fearless as my 5-star prediction. That is the first book. Normally I take Fearless and Fearful off the shelf together, but I think that could be the reason why I haven't been reading it, because I keep seeing 2 books instead of just the one. Then the next prompt that I actually picked was Friends to Lovers. I couldn't remember for sure which one of these books were Friends to Lovers, and this is another thing I'm going to tell you right now. I am not putting tropes inside this prompt jar anymore, maybe fake dating only, but because like, I don't know the tropes to all of these books and sometimes they can be very spoiler-esque. Like my last prompt jar, I put 1 bed trope in there. I don't know why I put it in there, because then I had to go find the book with 1 bed trope, which was just opening me up to a bunch of spoilers, so eventually I threw that prompt out. So I'm going to be taking these out. By the way, girlies, if you have any good prompts that you want me to have that you want in this jar to spice up my jar a little bit because it's kind of feeling a little bit stale, then comment them down below. Please, I need all the help I can get. Drop your prompts, I will put them in there. So anyway, the Friends to Lovers, obviously I have to do a little googling to find. We have Say You Swear, The Neighbor Favor, and Wildcard. I can tell you off the back, I did not choose Say You Swear, just because firstly I was trying to give myself as many easy wins in January, and that was just feeling too thick for a love story. 500 pages pages. Yeah, no thank you. Not to mention the fact that I feel like Say You Swear, I know it's a really loved book. I feel like it was brought out during like the Colin Hoover era where everyone was obsessed with Colin Hoover books. So I feel like it's going to be very sad and like messy, and the miscommunication is going to go crazy just because like that's what was like in the books around this time. I think so. I do have like low expectations, but I think I might actually audiobook this at one point just because it's not one that I'm super excited about. So ask me why I bought it. We had Wild Love, which to me, Elsie Silver books are like paracetamols. Like you just keep them on deck. Like they're always like really feel good, really spicy, they're entertaining, you just have them on site. Like when in doubt, Elsie Silver, like that's how I feel anyway. So I like to have these on deck, and I'm not quite ready to pop this one out of the packaging yet, so I'm gonna leave that there for when it's very much needed. The Chestnut Spring series is one of my favorite like palette cleanser series. Like you just read them in between when you just need a little like feel good book, and that's what that is. Like obviously I haven't read this one, so who knows, it could be tragic in there, but I don't think it will be. That obviously meant I left with Neighbor Favor. I don't know if you can tell, but this book is a little bit beaten up, a little bit red. There's actually a bookmark in there already because your girl has already read this book. That's how far in the future I'm filming this. But anyway, I'm not gonna tell you how I feel about it. I'm not gonna tell you guys anything. You can watch the wrap up and get it from there. So the Neighbor Favor was the pick for Friends to Lovers. Now on to the next pick, which was an ebook. Hopefully you can't see the back of that because I ripped the book that I picked on the back. An ebook only pick. I wanted to be really smart and pick a book off the shelf that I also had on my Kindle, because then that way I could actually earn money for the jar, because you know the wish list is really long and I need some money. So I tried to be smart, but however I went with Lightlark because this is on the Kobo subscription. I'm not paying for it right now. I'm still in the trial period and I'm trying to get through as many books through the trial as possible. I haven't done that much of it then, so I definitely think I should pick one while the trial is still running. So I went with Lightlark. That was the pick for ebook only. So after that, unfortunately, I picked up audiobook only, and that was annoying as well because I'm trying to clear the cart. I tried to apply the same knowledge and pick a book that I had on the cart. I don't own any of these books on audio, but I do have like subscriptions like, you know, Spotify, so I could listen to any of these. However, I wanted to use like the library just in case I needed to save Spotify. So I had a little look around on the library for all of these books, and I found that none of them were available. So the only one I could find was Freedom McFadden and the Boyfriend. This is one that I had on my Kindle, so I was like, you know what, it's been there for a while, let me just scoop up the audiobook. This one was available start of January, so I was like, okay, obviously I own these two, but these ones weren't available to like March or something like that, so I was like, okay, yeah, that's not gonna work. So we went with Freedom McFadden, The Boyfriend, and that is the next pick. The prompt after that was an ugly cover. I don't know where that prompt's gone. Not to mention the fact that I don't feel like I own any ugly covers. Like I feel like I like all my covers. I did consider this one because I just thought kind of boring. Also, I hate the sprayed edge, so this was a contender, but ultimately I decided that the Colin Hoover books weren't my favorite. I like Verity. I like the way Verity looks. This is really nice. However, these ones are so basic. To us, this one's not that bad, so that can stay. Ugly Love is like water, so it's kind of okay. This I thought was boring as hell. This was the one that I actually considered the worst. This one was very basic too. So these were the three contenders. I was having a hard time deciding which one I was gonna choose. So when I had a look around on Libby, I found that this one was actually available straight away. So we went with this. These ones weren't available until like February, March again. So this is the one that I went with. All Your Perfects by Colin Hoover. And actually, this was one of the books I felt like I was excited for when I was reading the blurb because it sounded so messy. So I was like, okay, yeah. So then I chose Most Recently Added to Your TBR, and this one I wasn't happy with because I wasn't trying to get into my new books yet. I kind of wanted them on site when I needed the injection of entertainment. So what the hell am I talking about? I don't know. So obviously if you watched my previous video, you would know the ones that were most recently added to my cart. However, I'll go through them real quickly. One of them was Blood Trials. I'm not quite in the mood to go into this. I feel like it's because it's hardback. I don't know why. Hardback just feels more like a commitment to go through. I also added these two, but I told you guys I didn't want to read that. There was quite a few books that were recently added to the cart, but the two contenders were Blue Sisters and Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This should have also been a 5-star prediction. What the hell? And if I'm honest with you, this I was not gonna choose purely because I did not want to go into the year crying my eyes out. I already know this one's gonna hurt. I'm not ready for this, which ultimately meant I was gonna go with Kennedy Ryan, Can't Get Enough. That was the one I picked for recently added to my TBR. The last and final prompt was Princess Picks. In other words, my daughter was gonna pick the book for me. She has been excited to pick my book since I started this whole TBR jar video. I told her name was in there and she was gonna get to pick my book. She was so excited. She kept asking me weekly. I was like, oh my goodness, I probably shouldn't have said anything to her. And it wasn't until the jar was basically empty when her name gets picked. She picked Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. She picked this when the snow was falling outside. I said, oh, you sure? Yeah, okay. That wasn't good. I don't want to be that parent that sways their kids' decisions because I'm like, I wanted to decide or make her choices, but this is basically affecting me. So I was like, I do not want to read this book. I let her pick it. A few days later, I decided to see if she wanted to change her mind because when the snow was falling, when we were like throwing snowballs and making snowmen outside. I did have a little discussion and change the book. I basically cheated, didn't I? No, my defense, when I first told her name was in the jar, I didn't have this many books, so she could see them all laid out, and her choice is actually stolen air. She chose this one because she liked the ballerina, and honestly, this is one that I was more really feeling a dark romance at this point. So I kind of went on to a kind of casual thing, picked up both of the books, said, which one do you think mommy should read today? And she chose this one. So I went with her first choice, basically. So that was the final TBR that we actually picked, and I don't normally pick 7 books, but there was literally 7 prompts left in the jar, and I was like, I'm not leaving one. So let's just recap. We got Stolen Air for Princess Picks, Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan for the most recent on my TBR, All Your Perfects for the most ugly cover, Frida McFadden for an audiobook, Light Lark for a Kindle/ebook read, The Neighbor Favor for Friends to Lovers, and Fearless for my 5-star prediction. And that's all the books that I picked for my TBR jar video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Next month, I promise I'll do it all properly with the jars. I'll add new prompts, so please comment down below your prompt ideas. I could fill up this jar with some new prompts that I actually like. Subscribe if you want to hear my thoughts and my wrap up on these books. See you in the next one.